Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Victorian Cowboy, and if you don't want to get spoiled about Season 5, Episode 10 of Game of Thrones, I suggest you turn off this video now. Now then, there's a lot to talk about, a lot of things that really need some discussion from last night's episode. We've had more deaths in last night's episode than any episode since the Red Wedding. We had Jon Snow getting mutinied against. And quick question, who here would really want to be the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch? It seems that they get killed more by their own men than anyone else in the world of Game of Thrones. We had Stannis potentially being killed off by Brienne. It's unclear whether or not he's really dead yet. They left that ambiguous. It's really interesting. It'll be interesting to see what comes of this. We've got Miranda getting pushed off the ledge by Theon, someone that I'm sure everyone cheered for when she got killed off, but still another death. Meryn Trant, another one who deserved to die, and then Myrcella. So we've got a lot of characters and a lot of things have been shaken up in this season finale of season 5. So a couple of things we should touch on. What's going to happen with the Night's Watch? With Jon gone, there's not really much to leave people coming back and wanting to see the things going on there at the wall, except to maybe see a lot of those mutineers killed off. And that leaves that begs the question of whether or not we'd want Ollie to get killed off too. He's just a kid, and his frustration with the wildlings is justified. He watched them kill his father before his eyes. Now, whether or not it makes sense that he would then take out that frustration on Jon, I think he could be easily manipulated, and that's really where that storyline was pushing it. He was manipulated by the older men of the Night's Watch, and he just had this hatred of wildlings to begin with. So we really can't hold it against him, but at the same time, it really does just make you feel ill. And watching them, as they were trying to claim they were defending the Night's Watch by killing off their Lord Commander, was just really tough. Not as tough as watching Shireen get burned at the stake, though. That is still the toughest point of this season to really work through. Now then, Myrcella. A lot of people didn't like the Dorne storyline. I thought it had some fun bits to it. Mainly because Bronn and Jaime have some good chemistry to work together. But really, that just seemed to be a nail in the coffin of why that storyline was almost unnecessary, because everything that happened in it is now completely null and void. Jaime didn't get his daughter back, and it's really just left things with a sour taste in your mouth, especially towards the people of Dorne. That sour taste is really going to make it hard for anybody to come back to Dorne next season. And you know darn well that there's going to be some war with Dorne eventually, especially because they just killed off the princess. So we'll have to watch for where that one goes. Sansa and Theon jumping off the wall after Theon finally recovers enough to realize what's going on, and he tosses her off the top of the wall, and you just get to see that lovely splat as her head hits the pavement. Well, then Sansa and Theon in turn have to jump into the snowbank, and we never really see what happens in that. So this season finale has left us with several loose ends, several unresolved storylines that we need to really be patient, because so far the showrunners haven't let us down too drastically with anything they've done in the show. They've brought this story to life in a mostly streamlined version of the books, although now we're going into uncharted territory where there are no books. So it's really going to be imperative that we give them a little leeway to really build the narrative, because right now I've heard a lot of people talking about how they're not going to be coming back to the show because they've killed off Jon or because of how things have played out, when really this season, yes, has been one of the darkest seasons yet, with just all the deaths and with just some of the conflicts coming up. But at the same time, I for one really want to come back and see where everything's going to end up, and I'm in no way going to be able to wait a year without speculating, probably on a weekly basis, what's going to happen. And to think that I would just walk away from this now because a character I liked, who I followed for 5 seasons and has been one of my favorites, happened to be killed off. Especially when we know that, although everyone's saying he's dead and Kit Harington's contract is up, Jon Snow is going to come back somehow. Because you've got a couple of things pointing in that direction. You've got Melisandre showing up, and she's failed her queen. Like, she knows she screwed up royally. But she's there. We've seen other characters come back from the dead. Case in point, we've got the Mountain, who shows up, albeit he's no longer talking and is more of a zombie just bent on destruction than being the pig-headed, arrogant warrior he used to be. But we've seen other ones come back. The Lord of Light brought back that gentleman that the Hound destroyed. So it's possible. This is a world in which magic exists. And so while they may not be telling Kit Harington what's happening, you can bet that he'll be back either mid-next season or maybe the beginning of season 7. Because they can't just kill him off. Because otherwise there's no one at the wall to protect. Excuse me. So, all things considered, I'm looking forward to next season, a year from now, to really see how everyone's going to respond to all this mayhem that this final episode of season 5 has really designed. So, if you look forward to it as well, I will be trying to do periodic videos next season, just discussing what's going on in each episode, and hopefully bringing together the community, so that, because let's face it, Game of Thrones is one of those shows where you just have to talk about what's happened, and it's so hard because you're always concerned if maybe somebody recorded it the night before to watch the next day. You never know who's up to date yet. So it's really imperative that we have an outlet to discuss these things and to contemplate and to throw ideas back and forth, because a show like this really brings the viewing community together. So, if you'd like to be a part of that, leave me a message, subscribe, comment, and as always, ladies and gentlemen, have a good one.